Hey, this is Matt in the Man Cave with my beautiful wife, Tracey, from
Esther 414
For
Ministries.
And she will not meow. Prior to me turning on the mic and the camera, I was meowing at her, and I thought she was going to be, meowing back, but look at where I'm at. Oh, my gosh. Wow. Okay, so Leo is dead.
And you say,
Who's Leo?
Do you mean Leonardo DiCaprio?
No, not that Leo. Leo Radvinsky. He's worth, are you ready for this?
Go ahead.
$8 billion.
No.
I think he's 43 years old. And
or was.
hey, if you know who this guy is before I go any further, go ahead and put a thumbs up. Like, yeah, I know who he is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, I hope you personally don't know who the guy is. Because he's a dirtbag. Okay, but that's just a shame.
Saying.
The Bible. Let me state this: the Bible. God is so wonderful. I mean, literally, God created us. He sent His Son to die for us, and then He says this: "It is not. I take no pleasure in the death of the wicked. It is not my plan that any should perish."
Yeah.
Okay, without saving faith, because God is just. I mean, there's no gray area. I mean, He has sent the solution, which is the person of Jesus Christ, okay? So God's not taking pleasure, even when evil people die. He would have much rather that person repented, asked for help, reflected, said, Lord, I need help. I don't
accepted His free gift of His Son, Jesus.
But, we want the things of the world, don't we? Okay, so does anyone know who he is? Anyone? All right,
Anyone?
Here's the thing. Let me read this text.
Anyone?
Tracey, Bueller. Let me read this, because I was reading this yesterday. I was doing a devotion yesterday in Ecclesiastes. Didn't get a lot of traction, but that's okay. You know what I mean? If anyone got anything out of it, I'm grateful.
Great.
Okay? But if we skip from chapter 3, where there is a season, to chapter 6, okay, this isn't the text of the day. This is what I was just reading. There is an evil, this is Solomon, which I have seen under the sun, and it is common among men. A man to whom God hath given riches, wealth, and honor, meaning God has allowed him.
Yeah.
Actually, how it should read, God has allowed him riches, wealth, and honor, so that he wants nothing for his soul of all that he desireth, yet God giveth him not the power to eat thereof, but a stranger eateth it. This is a vanity and an evil disease. What it is that God has allowed a man in this life to gain wealth, power, all these different things that we long for.
Accumulating
stuff, houses, vineyards, wives, kids,
cars.
And then Solomon is just looking. He's like an observation deck. He's like the watchman. He's like, let me tell you an evil. This is how it is. He's like, he's just sharing his heart here. Okay, he says, I'm not trying to get real spiritual here. I just want to share my heart. Let me tell you this evil, where the majority of people, they don't have, what they want, what they need, what they like.
Yeah.
But from time to time, there's a guy, and he has wealth, honor, family. He has the whole package from man's perspective, okay? And yet he dies. And back then it was a big deal to have food. You didn't have 3 squares a day. Okay, so back then, whenever you're reading that in the Bible and he has food, okay, this is how you can tell when this was written, because it's not like now. Where even the poorest of the poor you can go to a food bank, you can go to a soup kitchen, you can go get food stamps, okay? But back then it wasn't like that. And so to have all the food that you wanted, but you're not able to eat it, this is an evil. It's a terrible evil.
It's saying that it sounds like the guy had passed on.
Yeah.
And now someone else is enjoying all of his stuff. So he didn't get to enjoy it.
Yeah, well, that was Solomon was saying that in chapter 2 of Ecclesiastes. He was saying, you know what? There's nothing new under the sun, chapter 1. Chapter 2 is, man, I've tried everything out. I've tried the booze, the women, the drugs, the buildings, the accomplishments, all the goals, everything, you know what I'm saying? And he's done all these wonderful things and these big things, and I have the power, I have the money, I have the women, okay? And yet, reflecting again. I'm going to die eventually.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm going to give all this is going to go to someone else.
Yeah.
I mean, and now here, Solomon is reflecting upon Leo, which is the founder of OnlyFans.
Some of you may not have heard of OnlyFans, which is a good thing. That's a good thing.
It's 99% porn.
Yeah.
And so what OnlyFans is, okay, now let me tell you about Leo. Leo was born in the old USSR, 43 years old, which is now Ukraine. That's the old USSR, okay? So him, his wife, his kids, that's, I don't know if he was still living there when he died, because he was a very private person, but he created OnlyFans, and OnlyFans is this, a guy who's married, okay, a guy who's single, a guy who's fat, a guy who's poor, you can look through, and you can find a woman, and you can text the woman, and say, this is my fantasy, I want you to do this, and she will write back to you and say, okay, I'll do exactly what you want. It's all sexual, okay?
Yeah.
But you need to send me $5,000.
Or X amount of dollars,
X
whatever.
amount of dollars. It's expensive.
It's a lot.
It's expensive. Some of those girls, it's not. They're not doing stuff for $10. Okay.
No.
And so 5,000. Some of the things are 10,000. It's crazy. Some of the stuff that's on there. I mean, really, really crazy. But I'm telling you, and out of the 5,000, Leo would get 1,000. He gets 20% off the top.
Oh.
And so he was worth, his portion of the business was worth about $8 billion.
Wow.
Which brings us, ladies and gentlemen, to our text today. Tracey, will you read it?
Yes. For what benefit is it for a person to gain the whole world, yet forfeit his life? And that was in Mark chapter 8, verse 36.
Mine reads, for what shall it profit a man if he shall gain the entire world and lose his soul? Mm-hmm. This question is being presented by Jesus.
Yeah.
And it begs the question, what is the value of your life?
The next verse after that, it says, what can a person give in exchange for his life?
Yeah. What is it? What can you right now exchange for your life?
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing, because a lot of people, and I'm not going here with this isn't where I was going, but a lot of people, they believe that, because of, they're going to present something. I don't know what they believe anymore, to tell you the truth.
Yeah,
I don't know what they think they're going to. I don't know.
Stuff,
I really, I'm not kidding when I say this. I don't know in a person's mind how they think it's going to work out in the end, dealing with holy God who's just, who's high and lifted up. I mean,
sometimes people don't even think that far. They just think maybe there is a God, or some people don't think there is a God.
Yeah.
And those who do think that, they hear about all this loving God, so of course, I'm going to be fine. I'm not that bad.
So let me tell you what I did yesterday. I posted, it's 8 minutes long. I need everyone to stop what you're doing, go to my community on my page, and go to my post, and it's going to show you all of these planets. Okay, we're starting from smallest to largest. And you sit there. Okay, now watch this. You're sitting there, and they're showing you meteors. And then they're showing you stars. Then they're showing you planets. Then they're showing you bigger planets. Then they're showing you bigger stars. And you're actually showing you in comparison. And then after about a minute and a half, there comes the Earth. Right? And it makes sense. Okay, the moon's smaller than the Earth. Right. The sun is much bigger than
all the planets.
And then we start getting into some bigger stars, and eventually at the end of the 8 minutes, you have stars that are 86 billion miles in circumference.
Wow.
Okay?
Whoa.
Meaning you could put, I think, 10 trillion suns, and the number. I mean, it's just ridiculous. But as you're watching this, it's amazing. You start, if you're a believer, to get a glimpse of how powerful and in control God is, because all of that was created by Jesus by the spoken word.
Let me stop for just a minute. Okay.
It's humbling. I mean, I sat here and because I was thinking about my champagne problems. That's what you call problems, guys, when you really don't have problems. Champagne problems. And I was so humbled, and I thought, I said this to the Lord. I said, Lord, I don't actually have any problems. If a person will just do an in-depth study of the sovereignty of God and actually watch this 8-minute video, you would not believe how it changes your perspective of God, because it shows you, all of a sudden you think, oh, that's a big star, and then it shows you one that you could put 1 billion of the last star in, or the last planet in. And it just gets bigger and bigger, and then it starts talking about some of the universes out there and some of the galaxies that are like billions and billions of light years across.
This is a moment where they just need to stop and take a drink of coffee.
Yes,
take
a drink. That's what they need to do. Okay, so Jesus is presented, this question to people. Okay, so he's basically saying you can, in this life, build wealth, gain influence, achieve status. But if you lose your soul,
meaning when you die.
Yeah, if you die without Christ, what truly mattered?
Yeah.
I mean, when we look at eternity, see, and the thing I like about these stars and these planets is that it just lures you in. It really does. They're so small, and then they show one that's bigger, and they show one that's bigger, and then they show the Earth, and you're like, oh my gosh, yeah, there's the Earth. I live on the Earth, right?
Right.
Then they show the sun in comparison to the Earth. Then they show a planet that could basically take 1 billion of the sun. You could take another star and put 1 billion suns in it. That's how big it is. But it doesn't stop for 8 minutes. Just one thing after another thing after another thing.
Goodness.
And God spoke that all into existence. Now, if you don't believe that, then you don't believe it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can.
You're like, look at how all this evolved.
The Big Bang Theory. No. When you watch this 8-minute video, and there's no talking, it's just music. You understand there is no Big Bang Theory.
No.
I mean, look at when you're talking about 1 trillion light years across in some of these galaxies. 1 trillion light years, meaning traveling at. You know what I'm saying? When we went to see Hail Mary.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
One of the problems that there was is they needed a fuel source to get them. What was happening is there were some kind of dots that were eating up all the stars and destroying them, and they needed to go to a star that wasn't being eaten up and figure out, why isn't this star being eaten up, and try to fix the problem. And it's all sci-fi, it's all fiction, you know what I'm saying? But they finally had a fuel source which they could get to the star in a certain amount of time within their lifespan,
Yeah.
And it dragged on.
Yeah.
There was no language, but I don't care what.
It wasn't a bad movie. It just dragged.
Wasn't a great.
Yeah, they could have cut out different parts to speed it up. Because the funny thing was that it was targeted towards children, but yet a child would not have that attention span. They just couldn't. I'm like, okay.
Let's put the cookies on the bottom shelf for the people listening.
Okay.
What does it mean to gain the world? Gaining the world does not always mean being rich or famous, okay?
Okay.
It can mean living for approval instead of truth.
Oh, okay? Approval from other people. Yeah.
You're living for the approval instead of for the truth of what God has spoken. Choosing comfort over obedience, or chasing temporary pleasure over eternal purposes. This man found, written into the DNA of humanity, a weakness. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that
pleasure.
Each one of us, and God said the marriage bed is undefiled, meaning I've given you away, his children, in marriage to satisfy your desires. But if you're, again, not a Christian, then you're going to try to satisfy your desires with money, wealth, power, women.
Yeah.
And so
sex,
it identifies with a guy who, I mean, you know what I'm saying? He can find someone on there that's as cheap as $100. will you do this for me?
Yeah.
No longer than 2 minutes, and I'll give you $100. And it's a 2-minute video, and a young girl. There's all these 21-year-old girls, real young.
Yeah.
Will do something or right off the top because it's tier level, meaning the ones that have been there and that are really followed. Yeah. They're not doing anything for less than $10,000. They're making.
My goodness.
I mean, there was this one girl. I was reading the article. It was on People magazine, and she was in Disney movies, right? And then she wrote this rebuke because she said, "Hey, look at Disney about starved me. I couldn't wait till I was 21, where I could go to OnlyFans because in my first month on OnlyFans, I made $12 million." Okay, so all these people that were watching her on Disney, you know, she was heavy chested, by the way. They were really into her, and so she's no longer portrayed as the Disney figure. Okay, now she's portrayed as, you know, whatever you want her to be for X amount of dollars. Even good things in life, you know, careers, relationships, ambitions can become idols if they take the place of God. That's why I always say this, and I try to get people to understand that. But, you know, when I'm talking to people, I'm talking to Christians, non-Christians, people that don't have spiritual discernment. So it doesn't make any sense. Without spiritual discernment, nothing I'm saying makes sense.
No.
The cross, okay, Jesus, the Bible says, is foolishness, okay, to people who are dying and they're lost. I mean, you know, people, you know, it just, why do I even give a rip? Honestly, that's what they think. Why do I give a rip? I go to this, you know, well, let me just tell you why because Leo had everything.
Yeah.
He died an atheist. He died in his sins and trespasses. He died without God. And I want you to know that he had everything you could have in this life.
Yeah.
He had a wife. He had children. He had a beautiful homes.
Yeah,
I mean, he was diversified. He had a company, and he had, you know, he had every month direct deposits of like 200 million, 300 million. Every month direct deposit right into his, and he had you know, and then he has, you know, a company. His share is worth only his share is worth $8 billion. So as far as he's likened unto a Solomon, okay, and he knew he was dying. You know, because he had cancer for some time, but he never thought it was necessary to, you know, get right with God. You know, he listened to the wrong people, you know.
Yeah.
When I think about him, and I'm not picking on him because God's will is for him to have repented, maybe close down shop. Okay, close that down. Yeah. Close that. You have the power to turn it off because you created it.
Because you are leading so many people in the wrong direction.
You're going to take a guy, supposedly, who goes to church, okay, who really is struggling with porn, okay, and really trying to get out of that, and he comes across your little website, and now he can tailor his fantasies. See, this is all secretive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is all hush, hush, quiet. That girl will send you a code. You click the code, and that is your video that's stored on OnlyFans website. And anytime you want, you can go. So you can tell them. It's almost like you have a library, okay, in your house, and it's all your favorite books. So in my library, I would have MacArthur. I would have all my Bibles. I would have Alistair Begg. I would have R.C. Sproul. I would have Spurgeon. I would have Luther and Calvin and Augustine, Pilgrim's Progress. I'd have all this. But in OnlyFans, you have all of these videos that you've purchased with links, okay, with a thumbnail. Yeah. And so that's all yours. And no one else. She made that exclusively for you.
Yeah.
You know, she's the artist.
And, you know, I could see someone trying to come in and justify it and saying, well, if I didn't do this and someone else was going to put up this type of site, yeah, but you don't want to be the person to cause other people to stumble and fall because it's going to come on your head.
Because of how he's caused individuals to stumble and continue, right? Because here's the thing.
Even after his death.
In Revelation, it says, it is those who continue to the end in Christ We have to emphasize that in Christ, that will be saved. So it's not once saved, always saved. It's those who continue with the Lord.
Yeah.
Paul would address it in Galatians 5:19 and following, and he gives these lists. He gives the same list in Corinthians, and he lists all these different things that people do. And again, those things that people do in Corinthians, it says, such were some of you, but not anymore. Meaning because you're born again, you're saved. You've been, God's done a work in you. But the list is very extensive in Corinthians. It overlaps in Galatians. But in Galatians it says, I've told you once and I'll tell you again, you will not enter the kingdom of heaven. And what Paul is talking about is a person who is doing these things as a lifestyle. It's not so much I backslid. My bad. I just did a devotion called My Bad. You know what I'm saying? I guess they didn't like the cover art, but that's okay. You know what I'm saying? We'll continue to punch these out. So it was called My Bad, and really what it is that just doesn't work for God. No one's going to stand up in heaven in the wrong line and say, hey, my bad. No. I mean, God is so gracious, and you have to understand the heart of God. God is not willing that anyone should perish, but everyone does not get saved, okay? You have the choice of what you want in this life. And here's the thing, you can choose. You either want God or you want the world and the things of the world, the things that Satan's peddling, the things that are just all over. I mean, you know what? People are being conformed by Satan. Yeah. It's like when Hannah, during Christmas, sometimes, if I'm very, very blessed and fortunate, she will make star cookies, happy face cookies, gingerbread cookies, Christmas tree cookies, and she, and she just makes these wonderful cookies, and they're all in these different shapes, right? Yeah. Well, Satan is shaping people. Yeah. Okay, he's shaping them with movies. Yeah. He's shaping them with their friends. He's shaping them with the world, with all these different things. Where Paul would say we need to be shaped by God, by the renewing, meaning by going to church, by reading the Bible, by being around like-minded people. But most people are being shaped into an image likened unto Satan. Do as thy will. Whatever you want to do. I mean, really, that's what they're saying. Whatever feels good. I mean, it doesn't matter how many people you smash down in Satan's kingdom, Yeah. He with the most toys wins. I saw that sticker the other day. This guy had a nice boat, though. Normally, they have the sticker with no boat. This guy had the sticker on the back of the boat. And that boat was huge. And you know what? What's the verse? Behind me, guys, on the wall, is the 10 Commandments. Yeah. I did have it on both doors, but I put a bear on the other door. You know what I'm saying? So I have a bear on the other door, but over here. And the thing about, one of the things is do not covet.
Yeah, thou shalt not
So there's nothing wrong. Let me just put this out there. There's nothing wrong. Abraham was filthy rich, but there's nothing wrong with wanting nice things in this life. Yeah. As long as the nice things don't have you. Yeah. Now, if your neighbor, let's say your neighbor gets a brand new boat and you can't stop thinking about his boat, then you may have a problem. But as far as going to God and saying, Lord, I really would like a boat. I just got a boat today. Most people don't realize I just got a boat today.
It's an inflatable boat.
It's an inflatable boat. It's in a box. It's not a really big boat. You know what I'm saying? It's by Intex. Those are the people that make pool rafts.
Oh, okay,
and you know what I'm saying? It doesn't have a motor. I'm the motor, and it's only one-seater. It's just a one-seater inflatable boat. That's funny. I'm looking at the boat in the living room. I have to take it out of the box and review it for the people, or I don't get the boat. So I'm going to review the boat. I'll review the boat.
I was going to say that people being so finite, they cannot comprehend or fathom eternity.
No.
We see what we see right here. Yeah. We're always looking at the right now. Yeah. And this life. We don't even fathom that there is another.
I think that's the part that would get me.
Heaven.
A person goes to hell, and 5 seconds after they die, they have what's called full understanding. They understand why they're going to hell. It just makes sense, meaning God has given them full revelation. Yeah. But with that full revelation is the understanding and the revelation of how long hell is. There is no second chances, do-overs, and God doesn't change his mind. Yeah. You have rejected Christ. You've rejected Jesus, Yeshua. You've rejected the only way known in the Bible to be saved. There is no other way. God said it. There is no other way. And so that's scary. The other day, yesterday, my wife, I recruited her, I'm doing projects every day. I've been working outside every day. I film outside on the swing, Trace, and there's no grass there, and so I say, hey, I'm gonna eventually put some grass there.
Here, okay.
But down my fence, it's not my fence, but it's my neighbor's fence. Where I'm gonna put up a shed that was sent to me in a box, were all of these branches,
these vines climbing over to the other side of his fence.
It's so overgrown, and it's not. And I asked, the neighbor lost his dog the other day, and I said, hey, is it okay if I trim these back?
Meaning not his dog died or anything. You mean the dog's
running through my yard.
Yeah, he got out.
And so when the guy's running after his dog through my yard, he said, by the way, you see that over there? I need to trim that. You know what I'm saying? It's an issue. He goes, yeah, just take it all down. I don't care. I didn't go on his side of the fence, but I had to. I was going to use a real small, cheesy chainsaw, like an electric one. And I was like, this is not going to work. There were the vine was so thick. Some of it was 6 and 8 inches thick.
Yeah,
it was almost like tree limbs, right?
Yeah.
But where I'm going is I took out my big chainsaw, and Bob, I know you're listening. I'm jealous over your chainsaw. Bob has the Stihl FS. I think he has a 391. I have a puppy compared to you, Bob, but that's okay. I'm content with my chainsaw. Yeah. I'm not saying that to make you feel bad, Bob, because if I could, get that chainsaw, I would. But look. So I take my chainsaw, and I'm cutting all this, and I can't believe how thick these limbs are. Now, what has happened over 4 and 5 years, okay, is these vines have gone through the wood.
Yeah, the slats.
The slats in the fence.
The slats,
and just basically busted out all of the slats. Yeah. Busted out the back end of the fence, rotted it out. But this wasn't overnight that this took place. This wasn't one summer, one winter, one spring, one fall. No, what this was year after year after year after year, and because we've been here like 7 years now, and there was no trees there when we first got here. There was nothing coming up over the fence. So whatever this vine or what tree was or shrub was, it worked its way through slowly through the fence. That's like sin.
Yes.
Okay? Because now that whole fence is leaning. Oh, and the only thing holding it up is the shrub or whatever it is on the other side.
Yeah.
It's pulled up. The fence has 4x4 fence post. That is thick when you're talking about a fence. And it's just basically cut those in half. It strangled it.
Yeah.
But that's what happens. Sin and Satan's ways are so gradual. They're so slow that a lot of people, they don't understand until it's too late because they're in darkness. Yeah, sin blinds us.
The sin has encompassed them where we're the fence and we're not seeing the damage that it's causing on the inside.
We don't see the gradual
overtaking,
degrading of our soul, the darkness that's entered into us. We don't see it.
No.
I mean, and yesterday, after I chainsawed it, then I had to take a prune thing, and I had
a hedge trimmer type of a thing.
Hedge trimmer, and go through all the slats and try to trim it like I was shaving the fence because there was everywhere. Every slat had these vines coming through it.
Oh yeah.
And finally,
and then that when you got far enough in before when you were starting to get to that part there, the vine had worked its way into the fence.
Yeah,
I mean,
literally in through the fence.
And that's what sin does again. It works
pushed
into
through
us.
The wood.
Yeah.
It rotted the wood, pushed through the wood. It was crazy. I'd never seen anything like it.
Yeah, and we don't realize sin does that to us.
And afterwards, we did what God says He will do if the tree doesn't grow.
The vine and the branches.
Yeah, remember that farmer, and it's a story of our Heavenly Father and Jesus. He says, "Hey, this isn't producing any fruit."
Yeah.
And chop it down, throw it in the fire, and you have the farmer saying, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa! Let me do this. Let me dig around it. Let me fertilize it. You know what I'm saying? Let me be very tender with it, okay? And after a year, if it hasn't produced any fruit, okay, then we'll chop it down. We'll throw it in the fire." That's talking about how good God is. Mm-hmm. In the midst of our foolishness, in the midst of our sin, our darkness, our choices, our life, okay? The justice of God demands that things be taken care of. But the blood of Jesus Christ is the long suffering, okay? That's saying, no, let me dig around it tenderly. Let me fertilize it. Let me water it. I want to do this, okay? And the Father in the story says, okay, I'll give it a year.
Yeah, and listen to this particular branch and vine that was coming over with these branches. They had, some of it had these thorns, these really big thorns coming out of them, and some of them were real brittle. Some of them coming out were just like flimsy, But there was never any like fruit on it, and there was never any flowers on it.
Look, it's the cost of compromise.
Yeah,
that's what it is. Every compromise asks for a price. Did you know that?
That's why I call it.
That's why there's no single sins. You cannot sin one sin. It's like the chips, the Lay's chips with the salt all over them. That's true. You cannot just eat one Lay's chip. They're so salty. You want another one.
If you look into the meaning of the word compromise, it's both sides giving something.
Yeah.
They're giving into something. So you don't want to compromise with sin. You don't want to be giving into sin.
Truth of God is traded for what's popular now.
Yeah.
That's what churches are doing. They're trading in the truth of God, the law of God, who God is, okay, for what has become popular, what is, what society, they're bending.
What
the
society
Catholic Church
is right.
is bending.
Yeah.
Integrity is traded for success, okay? Because this guy, he slowly lost his soul every day. You see what I'm saying? Just decision after decision after decision.
He didn't just come out one day and decide he's going to do OnlyFans.
Faith was traded for convenience. Now, a guy in his house with a credit card can overextend himself and have his little fantasy made. You know
Does it work both ways? Do they have men doing it?
Men doing it too. This is modern day Baal worship. Yeah. See, this is what Baal worship was. The same exact thing. What Baal would do with Asherah is Baal and Asherah, obviously they're not real, but they would have a person on stage dressed like Baal and a woman dressed like Asherah, and they would have sex on stage, and everyone, and they said this was them doing this was to appease the real Baal and the real Asherah. So they were doing raunchy sex, crazy sex you're not supposed to do, especially not in public. Again, the marriage bed's undefiled. That's husband and wife, one husband, one wife.
That's the beginning of porn.
So people watching it in the groves. That's what they would call, when you're talking about the groves, they would do these things in the groves. The Bible goes over that. They had special places, the high places, the groves. They would be like swingers. And so people would be hooking up. And it was all under the guise of, we are having sex, for Baal. I'm having sex with this lady in the crowd. I'm trying to do my fair share. And then they had the temple prostitutes, and then the offspring of these things. Here's what would happen. You would have people go one step further once they had the baby from this illegitimate, encounter, and then they would burn the babies. It's all satanic, but that's what you have here with OnlyFans. It's not innocent at all. There's very few people that come out of it. There's one young lady, I was listening to her testimony.
I remember this,
Yeah, she was making about $1 million a month, and she actually, what was funny is, she was in a Christian household and raised as a Christian. And she's doing all this from her bedroom. Parents have no clue. And one day, she walks into the kitchen, and she says this to her dad, "Dad, how much do you owe on the mortgage?" Okay, he says, "I owe $859,000. I have my slip right here. In another 22 years, it will be paid off, and you can enjoy your room." And she grabbed the slip, and paid off his mortgage. Then he sees the next month that his mortgage is paid off, and he says, he doesn't understand. He calls the bank.
Like,
He's like calling the bank. He says, "What is this? This isn't me." He's like, we'll look into this, right? Find out his daughter did this. He goes to his daughter. How did you do this?
Like, how did you pay for that?
Well, I'm doing some kind of stuff online. It's really taking off. What are you doing online? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. How can you?
And then Dad says this. Look that's unacceptable unto God. You have to decide: do you belong to God, or do you not? Because here's the thing: if you're going to continue doing this, you need to leave your room and get your own place. You can't stay here. That's a hardcore move.
Yeah.
Even after she just paid off his mortgage, you can't stay here and be doing that. If you're going to decide as an adult that this is what you want, then that's your choice, right?
Yeah.
She can't be more than like 23, 24. And, she goes to church, talks to a youth pastor, and, luckily she came across someone that truly belonged to the Lord and said, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? What if you gain the whole world? Is it worth losing your soul? Because that's what you're going to do. How many people are you leading astray? How many people are you leading to hell by doing this? Because you're beautiful. God made you beautiful. But you're taking that gift and you're just basically throwing it out there. And so finally, you know what she does, which is a great testimony? She walks away, closes down the site, puts out one more video, opens it up to everyone, stating she's very, very sorry that she did this, right? She deleted the account, which you're not supposed to do because those people paid for that. So she got in a little trouble there. But she walked away, and now she has like a devotional channel, and she's good. She really is good. She's not, her theology's I'm not picking on anyone, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She's
God got a hold of her.
Yeah, God got a hold of her, you know what I'm saying?
And I've seen that same story with a few people, that God can get a person and pull them out of that.
The better choice is this, and it's what Jesus is inviting us to. Faith over fear. Because when you get involved in these things, the spirit of fear is always attacking you. He is. Purpose over popularity. And a lot of people do things because they want to be acknowledged. I'm successful. But Jesus asked the question, what if you lose your soul? Eternal life over temporary gain. That's what it is. You know what I'm saying? Jesus isn't mincing words. This guy, as soon as he died, he's probably, it's like I said with all the planets, the 8-minute video on the planets. 5 seconds after you die, you understand that you're in hell for eternity. And it just never ends. There is never a point where God says, okay, you suffered enough. No. You rejected his son, which died on the cross for you. You chose this life. You chose the wrong over the right. Men know that's wrong when they're looking at this garbage. They know it is.
People, they want other people's approval. And they just can't fathom, God, and that he would want a relationship with you, so they think this is all there is, and so I want everybody else's approval. And that's the terrible thing too about and social media is getting into some trouble too, targeting kids and stuff. It's a real thing because people are so into their social media sites and everything that it causes an issue with the relationship with God.
So I want to tell you how bad this is, where it's gotten. Okay, all over the internet are these beautiful women. They're in their 30s, they're teachers, and they're having sex with 10 and 11 and 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds, right? What they're doing is these women are going to porn sites, and they're going back,
stuff like
and they're going back, and they're going back, and they're going back, and some of these sites are pushing, there's no better sex than to have it with really young kids. And they're going to bust if they don't do it, and they're getting 20 years and 30 years. They're getting. Can you imagine? You're 30 years old. You're a teacher. You're highly respected, and you want to have sex with a kid because that's what you programmed your mind to. You know what I'm saying?
These are like news clips that Matt's talking about. Yeah, these are real people that are getting into real trouble.
I was watching a guy who got busted, and he was talking to the cops in their cruiser, and they were interrogating him, and they were showing him all of the child porn that he had on his phone. Everything that he had on his phone, they had printouts of. Like 150,000 pages and videos and all this.
Goodness.
And they were asking him some point blank, hey, buddy, what gives?
Yeah.
Tell me what gives. Did you not know, that this is wrong? And he kept on saving all of this to the cloud drive on Verizon.
Ooh.
Verizon has to, by law, turn these people in. And so this guy, he's toasted. He's literally toasted beyond, So I have a great example that I'm going to share with you later, but I'm not going to give it now. About what this stuff. I really want to share the example, but I don't have a way to share the example unless I. Okay, I am happily married to you.
Yeah.
And you're the only one I want. Can I say that?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
As people get older, okay. Let me just say this: there's no person, no young chick looking at me as a dad.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Thinking, oh, Matt, he's hot.
Yeah.
It's not like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just not like that. You know what I'm saying? Husband and wife, they love each other. They've grown older together. You know what I'm saying? But I noticed something the other day of a woman that was staring at me. And she was staring at me, and she was staring at me because I'm on the swing preaching, right? And right? And then it's not just me preaching, okay? I'm done preaching. I'm just sitting there, and I notice this woman walking up the street, and she keeps on looking at me. Then a couple minutes later, she walks back, and she's just staring at me, and she's acting like she's not staring at me, but she is staring at me, And really, I was praying to the Lord. I was like, I don't understand.
What is she
doing?
What
is
is
this?
Yeah.
This is a woman, okay, who is into, I believe, pornography, and has just filled her head with so much crap. You see what I'm saying? That anytime she sees someone, a man, with his shirt off, okay, that she's just...
He was tanning.
I was tanning. That she, you know what I'm saying?
Which, do you know what else, though, too? In the neighborhood that we are, farther down the block, they've got a lot of drugs and stuff going on down there. And then you have women that go down there all the time, and you never know if it's a woman going to say, oh, for so much, I could let you have this, and then she can go and get her drugs.
Yeah.
And see, women again, they're willing to sell their bodies for whatever
for meth, $20 hit of meth. That's what it's come down to.
Yeah.
But it starts like the fence with the weeds.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what it is, and people. They don't realize the rabbit hole that they get in, and they keep on going in it and in it and in it, and then eventually it changes them, but they don't see the changes.
No.
They have no idea that they no longer are the same person anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, wow. You know what I'm
saying? It reminds me of what you've been saying when the enemy tries to lure you down a road and you say, God says no.
That's what I do now.
No, and God bless me. And then also we're saying, Lord, help me to overcome the flesh as well, because we can't overcome it in and of ourselves.
Guys, I'm going to give you this
it has
real
to be the
quick.
Holy Spirit.
I know we're not running super long like we have been, but there's no sin in temptation. So a thought jumps in your mind. It takes you a couple seconds to realize, because your mind will go along with it for a minute, 30 seconds, 15 seconds, then all of a sudden you realize, what the heck? What am I doing?
You should be clicking in,
So what I do is I say, the Lord rebuke you, Satan, because I did not just think of that, okay?
Yeah.
And then I go to God and I say, Lord, will you bless me? When we look at the two areas that defeat the most people, I would have to say it's lust and money.
Yeah.
That get the most people.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would say women, but it could be men.
Yeah.
But it's some type of distortion in sex and some type of worship of the spirit of mammon.
Yeah.
The spirit of mammon isn't it's the love of money, the love of power, the love of control,
Well,
but those seem
yeah.
I'm not stereotyping, but those two areas
Yeah.
seem
They're
to
at the
be where
top.
the
Yeah.
majority of people fall into. Because I remember listening to this prostitute being interviewed, and she says, "Do you think I do this because I like it? I like the money."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what she said. I like the money. I don't do this because I like it. She was actually saying that she resents these men because they're pigs. And a lot of them have their wedding rings on, or the tan line where their wedding ring was on. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And she just thinks they're the most despicable pieces of garbage. And she said, in the interview, she says, "But I have to act like I really am liking what they're doing, so it will go quick." You know what I'm saying? It's all what I'm asking, guys. And this is Matt talking to you, not Tracey, okay? I'm asking you to be a real man. Okay, a real man can look Satan in the blues and say, "The Lord said no. God's commandments said no.
Yeah.
God says I can't do that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that. Get behind me, Satan. The Lord rebuke you, Satan." And that same man can then go to God and say, "Lord, I want you to help me, encourage me, empower me, and bless me." See,
Yeah.
I'm wanting people to stand up in their manhood for God.
Yeah.
I'm not going to bow the knee to Satan, to the world, to women. There are more mousy men now.
Oh,
okay?
yeah, beta males.
I've never seen. I was just watching a clip. It was so funny.
Oh my
and
goodness.
it was this
gender, and I think
transgender
it was a
lawyer.
woman wanting to be a man.
I don't know if it was a man being a woman being a man, but they were having
dressed
a
up in
fit
his suit
in front of the judge, and the judge kept on telling the person to stop.
Yeah.
And they kept on having
pulling their Karen moment,
pulling their little feminist gay moment thing, and finally, the court found them in contempt of court.
warned, and
they kept on screaming, "You're hurting me! You're hurting me! You're hurting!" It's just ridiculous. I'm asking you to be a man because God made you a man, and don't allow that. We just have so many men that aren't men anymore, and I'm not. And you're getting railroaded. Some men are so railroaded by women that they're tiptoeing around the tulips. They feel like they're walking on eggshells in their own house because their wife is going to yell at them. Partner, okay, grow one. Be a man. Find your balls wherever you left them. Okay, start eating red meat. God never intended you to be a slave, okay, to some lady. I've seen
be the godly leader of the house. You know,
be a godly leader.
Do not allow that spirit of Jezebel to come in there.
It's a spirit.
Yep.
It's a seductive spirit.
Yep.
And it works on his need for sex.
Yeah.
And there's this power play that goes back and forth.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying, here's the thing. Before I would let someone trample all over me, look at. I'll toss off in the shower. That's how it is. I'm not going to bow the knee to some feminine Jezebelian spirit. And some of you, listen, I'm going to call it like I call it. Some of you are in contempt with heaven because your house is out of order.
Yeah.
And if you're crying out to God, saying, "Lord, bless me. Lord, help me. Lord, why is this happening?" It's because your house is out of order. Okay?
Yeah.
Get your wife to write me. Okay? Let her listen to that. You're going to stand before God, honey, having railroaded your husband, used your little charms on him, okay? Your charms won't work on a godly man. Yeah. Oh, no.
Yeah.
You know what I like? Get behind me, Satan. That's what I like. You think I want any piece of tail that's going to send my tail to hell? I don't want it. I want my wife only. I love my wife. I don't want some 19-year-old girl. I don't want some 16-year-old girl. I don't want a 23-year-old girl. I don't want a freebie here and there. I don't want any of that. You know who I want? I want God. I want my wife. I want the blessings of all of heaven falling down. And I want to treat my wife like a princess because God chose my wife for me.
Yeah.
I got it out. And so I'm a much better man now because I saw this woman just going off in Walmart on her husband. And I was thinking about doing a 10 step series on how to be a man and grow one and find your balls. How to find your balls. Okay? Starts with a 2-inch steak. Okay? Red meat makes testosterone. Pump the iron. You start pumping iron again. Start doing some squats. Okay? And I'm not talking about being a jerk. I'm talking about being a godly man.
Yeah.
Putting God first, your wife second, taking care of your family, doing whatever it takes, fighting the good fight of faith, laying hold on eternal life. Okay? Saying no to Satan, no to porn, saying no to the stuff that's going to hurt you. Where are all the godly men? Where are all the men that are supposed to be the tip of the sword? Where are the MacArthurs? Where are the Edwards? Where are the Calvins? I mean, I love Luther. Luther is there at the Catholic Church with his hammer and his nail, hammering his thesis saying, "You're wrong." I like that guy. You know who has big balls? Luther did. Luther had big balls. You know what Luther did?
Isn't he the one that would get upset?
Martin Luther.
Yeah.
Not the
just Martin Luther.
Yeah. And so he's nailing his thesis on the wall, saying you're wrong.
Yeah.
It's all about faith.
Yeah,
it's not about good works. The Catholic Church was railroading everyone. Drives me crazy.
Yeah,
okay, so I got all that out. I feel like I'm a better man. I really do.
And, you know, for those of you saying, oh, he must just lord...
My mom's going to get me for this one. My mom's going to clobber me. My mom listens to these guys, and I always hear about, when I talk about stuff like this, I always hear about, there's a better way to say it. But I got the greatest mom in the world. I really do. You know what I'm saying? I got a great mom. She took me to church when I was a non-Christian. I was a little boy. I wasn't a Christian, but she kept on dragging my sorry tail to church. And she must have been praying because, boy, I can remember the night that I got saved. Thank you, Jesus. You know what I mean? So can that guy, because I started talking about my sins, and that guy's eyes got as big as cucumbers. I mean, he was just like, wow. You're not kidding about you doing a lot of bad, okay? Well, okay, you've confessed enough. That's what he said to me. You've confessed enough. After 10 minutes, you've confessed enough. I was just emptying I was like, Lord, come into me. I don't know what it means. Save me. I believe. I'm sorry. See, that's the key. I'm sorry. I'm sorry doesn't mean I'm going to go back into the trough again, eat the vomit. I'm sorry means there's going to be a change. How many men are you know what they are? They're weasels. They're little mice men. You have to get your satisfaction from watching a woman. Get your satisfaction from looking up into the stars and realizing my God created that.
And I really got to go here real quick.
Go there.
Because you're already leading there. It was...
I'm going to go.
Our daughter and myself, we were walking around and praying for a little while today in this field.
How long? 2 hours?
I don't know.
I think it was 2 hours because I was sitting in the seats baking. I've been sitting there in our little porch swing, and I have my water, I have my meat log, my cheese, and my Bible, and I just pray and I swing. But I was really getting burnt, and it takes me a couple hours to get burnt. They were out. Look at guys. You can't find women like this. 2 hours. In a field, doing circles, praying to God.
We were talking first, and then we were praying afterwards. We actually prayed for a whole 5K, and then we walked maybe a mile and a half.
Yeah.
And
because I said, how many miles did you get?
It's like 4.44.
She got 4.44.
But we weren't doing a fast pace.
Yeah, if you're into numerology, 4 is the appointed time, appointed season. You know what 4 is? 4 is chapter 3 of Ecclesiastes, an appointed time.
An appointed time. Yeah, I like that one.
You got to go back and watch that one. Not a lot of people did.
She had asked me this question.
Okay,
she said,
give me the question.
Is there really a once saved, always saved? And my answer to her was, no. It's those who persevere to the end will be saved. And I said, how you know that is, I go,
resting.
Well, I was telling her,
trusting.
I was telling her that I said, like, do you want to sin against me? And her eyes got really big, and she gasped, and she said, no, Mommy, I don't ever want to sin against you. And I said, well, it's the same way with the Lord. As you start getting closer to the Lord, as you start moving on, you don't want to sin against the Lord. Your heart is for Him. It's a constant, the Lord is sanctifying you this whole time. Like, yes, when you won't be where you were when you first started with the Lord.
Yes.
You know, you need to be further on. And yes, you might slip every now and then, but you're going to be grieved by it. You're
Yeah.
just going to be like, oh, Lord, why did I do that? I
You're
should not.
always growing. I always
Yeah,
say green is growing, ripe
this
is rotten.
And then I said to her, I go, that if you don't have that grief or that sorrow that you sinned against him, I said, now there's a problem. That you're saying, well, it's all covered by grace. I don't have to worry about it. It's like, no, that's not the place your heart needs to be.
Christians, so-called Christians, will say that, okay?
Yeah.
They go back in their memory to a time where they prayed, got baptized, or thought they were saved.
Yeah.
Whenever you do that, you're on dangerous ground. If you have to go backwards,
maybe it was an emotional thing.
Sometimes we will be witnessing to someone, and they can't tell me anything that God's doing in their life now. But what they can do is say, well, back 3-4 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I was baptized in this church by this pastor, blah, 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 blah. But they can't tell me anything that God is doing now. So really, what that is what the Bible would call an intellectual knowledge.
Yeah, or an emotional
experience. It's the seed that went and it grew up quickly and then faded away.
Yeah, and then it died.
Yeah.
Yeah, there should always be a growing. You should always be seeing that
constantly. And again, we're not talking about anyone here being perfect.
No.
We're not.
Yeah.
But if anything has mastery over you other than Jesus Christ, you have a real problem according to Scripture. Mastery means it's more important than your relationship with God. It has a real
tight hold on you. And
whether it's money, whether it's a job, a person,
the Bible also,
unforgiveness. That was the other thing I was going to tell you. The things that destroy people. That really destroy people is lust, money, and unforgiveness. There was 3, and I couldn't remember the other one. Right? I mean, the 3 things that tend to trip people up in this life. Where that you were reading this verse this last week, it says, "Let go of those things that entangle you."
It was
weigh
in Hebrews.
you down. It's in Hebrews.
Each person has his own little thing, but the Bible also tells us you may fall 7 times, but the Lord will help us get back up again. And yes, we may fall, but He's going to help us to get back up. We're going to say, Lord, I am so sorry. I shouldn't have done that. I am so grieved. Please forgive me. And that's the difference between, those who continue till the end shall be saved, and perseverance of the saints, where it's once saved, always saved. That is not a thing. Because it means if you can go out and you can do anything you want, and it's all going to be covered under grace, it means your heart really hasn't changed.
I want you guys to look in your own lives, okay? Is there anything that you're holding on to that could cost you eternity? Let me ask you this. If you came over to my house and I was chit-chatting with you, and I love you guys, all of you, okay, and you were being honest with me, okay, is there anything that you would share with me if you could open up?
Yeah.
And then I would say, hey, partner, you got a problem. This will take you down the wrong road. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Again, unforgiveness, a love for money. You know what I'm saying? Women, you know what I'm saying?
Love for things.
A love for things. And there's nothing wrong with
things. But you love it more than God.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with things. Even last night, we were eating an excellent meal.
Oh.
It was the most, it was
yes.
so good.
Thank
we found
you,
some
Lord.
meat. It was on sale. Instead of getting 4 steaks, we got 2 steaks and then we split them.
Yeah.
And there were T-bones. And they were so delicious. But what's so funny is as we were eating, we all had snuck a bite. And so before we, started chowing, I was just praising God and saying, Lord,
it was so good,
thank you for this meat. Thank you for the potatoes. We got big bag of potatoes at Sam's Club.
They were huge potatoes.
So grateful that God has forgiven us, given us a second chance, and more than a second chance, many chances that He's gotten a hold of us, because we're not perfect. We just ask for forgiveness when we mess up.
Yeah.
It's easier when you're married to someone who belongs to the Lord, that reads the Bible with you, because iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
A good woman, who can find her? That's what the Bible says. She's more valuable than gold and precious rubies and stones. But people don't understand that concept. The wrong woman, she's a dripping wife. She's a dripping faucet.
Yeah.
It's a roof while you're sleeping that's dripping onto you.
Yeah.
And a
Dripping
lot
on
of
your
people,
head.
they got involved in, fooling around prior to marriage, and they thought that's all there was.
Yeah.
And now they're suffering the consequences of those decisions, and they're stuck. I mean, they're literally stuck. Don't let anything that you're choosing to do, okay, keep you from eternity, because it can.
Yeah.
It truly can, because you
Yeah.
really, you don't see it, but you're choosing that over God.
Yeah,
Especially if
yeah,
you know God says
yeah.
no. It's not a matter of, oh, God's going to forgive me. No, you love it more than God.
Yeah.
I want you to love God more than all those things, okay?
Yeah.
And start asking him to make you a godly man, a strong man, okay?
And the best way to know what God likes and doesn't like is to read his word daily. It helps you to stay on the right track, and having a real relationship with him, and praying and asking him to show you these things, to guide you, to lead you every single day.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, poor Leo.
Don't be like Leo.
Don't be like Leo.
Yeah.
And hello. I didn't say hell. Hello. It sounded like hello, but it's hell-o. You know what I'm saying? All right, we love you guys. God bless you.
Yeah, have a good day.
Peace,
Something
guys.
to think
Have a good
about.
weekend.
Bye.
Bye.